Okay, so I got it figured out ish. Seat switch. It allowed it to crank, but it did not allow it to spark. So I disconnected the switch. We're in testing mode. So I disconnected a safety in testing mode. Parking brake is on. I am shocked that this battery is holding up. I thought for sure the battery was going to be no good. Now I know we got a lot of fuel in it because it's been cranking forever. Gah. We'll try it no choke. See what happens. It fired. That runs good. We were dead on with that idle mixture. We turned it the base one turn out from 0. That's what it calls for on the manual. And then I just a little bit more because that's usually where they end up being. And so I went a little leaner and it started to run slower. Went back to where it was and it smoothed out. Went a little richer and it started running rough. So right back to where I put it. Perfect. Good. It's nice and hot. Now we're going to dump the oil, change it. I did actually have to take a little bit out earlier because it was overfull. The gas had gone into the engine, it was overfull, and when I had the valve cover off, it was dripping out. And all that smoke was old oil that's burning off the exhaust. So I tried a few times with a blowgun to blow a lot of the oil away. And it's still burning a little bit of oil here, but I think this machine's going to be okay. It's got some linkage and stuff that's rough, and it's been sitting around for a while, so it's not quite smooth anymore. But we'll get underneath there and clean all that up and lubricate everything. Change the mower deck belt. I think the drive belt's okay. We'll check it anyways, but yeah. Anyways, it's about 6:30 in the evening. It's supper time. I'm hungry. We'll come back. Okay, so here's where we're at with this. We've got the deck off. It's actually not in bad shape. It needs bearings and a belt and blades and a patch. But it's not too bad. The rest of it's in nice shape. I have gone around and lubricated all the moving parts and stuff. The lift arms and all that jazz has been lubricated. Somebody's been over this tractor, and all of these hairpin clips that are usually installed, they've all been, other than the deck ones, every other one has been replaced with a cotter pin. And they just shoved a long cotter pin through the hole and bent both legs over. So now they pivot all over the place, and they were interfering with all kinds of things. So I went in there and I cleaned up the ones that I needed to. So that's all done. We do need to change the upper drive belt. There are 2 drive belts on these tractors. There's the one that runs from the engine to the sheave pulley, and then there's another one above that runs from the sheave pulley through an idler to the transaxle pulley, the big pulley at the back. And those pulleys are rusty, so the ones that I can get out easily, I want to get out, and I want to run a wire wheel in there and get rid of the rust out of the grooves. That way it doesn't wear the new belts out. So I need to change the upper drive pulley. The lower is fine. So this tractor will need 2 belts, the upper drive and the deck belt. So what we're going to do is I'm going to paint this. So I'm going to take the back half of this off. It's not going to give me any better access to the belt, because to get in there you got to get under the battery, and it's a little tiny narrow area. But I'm going to paint it anyway, so I'll get this off and out of the way. Yeah, rusty. Now I did put it in gear, and I turned that sheave pulley by hand to make sure that the transmission works. Now I can't tell if it skips or slips or any of that, but I can tell you that when I put it in forward and I turn the pulley, the tractor goes forward, and I put it in reverse and turn the pulley, the tractor goes backwards. So it's, the linkage and everything is working. It should be fine, but we'll find out once we get a little farther. Anyways, I'm going to fast forward through me taking this off because it's just a bunch of bolts and it's boring. Okay, so back half is off. I'm not going to take the seat off. Am I? Hell. Yeah, I'll take those off camera. It's just 4 bolts. 4 more bolts, they come right out. They're just tapping bolts. There's no nuts and no brackets or anything underneath them, so I'll just pop that seat off. Just make it easier to video. I'm not going to take these sideboards off. There's a bunch of nuts and bolts that go into the chassis, and what happens is when they go through, they actually hold a bunch of other brackets and stuff on. So I'm not going to bother with those. So when I paint it, I'm going to mask here, and I'm going to paint these red. And then once it's dry, I'll mask the red and then paint the black. And the back half, the back fenders and everything, I'll just do that on a workmate, probably off camera. But yeah, so I'll get the seat off and then I'll get the camera over here and I'll show you what I'm talking about with this drive belt. Okay, carrying on. So what we're going to replace is this belt here. It goes this pulley, back under the idler, and then out again. Now this is a variable depth pulley. They're very expensive. I think last time I checked, they were about 160 US for that pulley. And they can actually seize up, and that's what gives you your variable speed. Anyways, I don't really care for that. I prefer to have gears instead of this, but it works. Many MTD riding mowers have this style of drive. I just forget off the top of my head what they call it. You can see how rusty this stuff is. I'm going to get off the pulleys that I can easily, and I'm going to just clean out the grooves so it doesn't wear the new belt. So we got just a little wear on this belt. It's on the inside edge here. These belts it's actually got a little groove worn in it. These belts it's important that they're in good shape. It's important that it's the right size. Just throwing a generic belt on there typically doesn't work out for the best. The speeds don't work quite right. Just a snap ring on this one to get it off. It's a bolt and a nut on this one. That's a flat pulley. So that's not really going to be too much of an issue for the V. And the back one is the giant V pulley that we're going to get off as well. But it looks like the belt, this shift rod goes down over and it goes straight down right about here. We have to get that shift rod out because the belt is actually in the middle of it. And we won't be able to get it around the bracket. So we'll have to remove that shifter rod and then get the pulley off get the belt off the pulleys. Yeah, you can hear how crunchy that is. You see the rust on the side of the belt here. And unfortunately, the way this is designed, I won't be able to film most of it because you just can't get everybody in there. So I'm going to back you guys back away and I'll jump in and get these pulleys taken off and the shift linkage and everything taken off the way it needs to go. Okay, so I've got this pulley off and cleaned all that with a wire wheel as good as I could. And this was actually pretty sticky. So it's important that these move free like this. They have to be able to move really easily in order for the drive system to work properly. So I'm going to carry on with the other pulleys, get them buzzed down, installed back on the tractor, and we'll jump back in. Alright, so I've got all the pulleys, I got them taken off, I wire wheeled all inside, get the rust out. That's that sheave pulley with the adjustable piece in it, a floating piece in the middle. And the idler's the flat, it's just a flat pulley, so that's not going to give us too much of an issue. Everything's all good to go. The belt's not going to get demolished on it, so I thought I was going to have to pull this out, but all I did was I ended up taking the support bracket off of it. Where's that bracket? This bracket here actually goes down on the around here inside, and then it works its way down, and there's a couple of bolts that holds it in. I just took those bolts out and it seemed to go in there just fine for me. So, or it came out, so it should be fine to put it back together. And this is the issue, the belt was around that shifter, the forward reverse shifter. So that's what was giving me trouble, or going to. Let's get her on these belts here, or on these pulleys. And over. Oh, geez, don't get your fingers in there. So these levers and pivots have all been lubricated. Oh, it fell off the other side. Of course it did. There we go. Nice. Perfect. Everything's turning the way it should. Belt fits in the pulleys nice. It's not going to get much friction here because there's no squeeze on this. The front one has to be driving for this one to actually be squishing. So that's that. Let's get our bracket put back down on there. I think it goes way down here. A couple of small bolts on the outside that you can't see. I can't see them either. We can't all have our heads in there. There's one. Uno. And there's the second one. Just gonna put them in by fingers as much as I can for now, so I get the retainer spring hooked in. There's a spring that gives this tension, and it is there. Oh, I gotta remember how it goes in. I don't remember. I had a picture of it. I think that goes there. Oh, I don't know. Well, I gotta go back to the picture. Figure that one out, because I had it set here where it needs to go, and then it fell off. And then I ended up sanding some stuff while I was waiting for parts to come in. So anyways, I'll get that pop back on there. I'll get a picture of how it's supposed to go. Just because I don't remember. Of course, I got, I think, 2 other tractors outside that has the same thing on it, so should be able to figure it out easily enough. That way. Oh, it looks like we got a winner. Yep, that's it. Let's see if you can see that. Nope, you can't get an angle on it. Sorry about that. But anyways, that's in. I did get a new belt for the deck. I did get my new blades for the deck. We still haven't got that far yet. And a couple of other little tidbit items I needed for stock. So that's on. I'm going to carry on now at this point. Mechanically, I'm going to just hold. I'm going to get everything painted. That way it has time to dry. And then once that's all dried, we'll get the tractor out and I'll bring the deck in and we'll get going on that deck. I'm sure we got to rebuild the bearings and the spindles themselves and blades, and there's a spot on there that we got to weld a patch in. So once I get it painted, I'll get a quick shot of it, and then we'll take it outside and get the other parts in and carry on with the job. Okay, so we got the chassis of the tractor all cleaned up and that's all painted. The hood's sitting over here, hasn't been done yet. But I want to get into the deck here and make sure that we can get the blades and the bearings and everything going. While the belt's toast too, it's separating. I've got a new one, so let's get this thing apart. We got to get these shields off first. Some might break. That's fine. There's a fix for that. Pretty easy. That one's off. Yeah, well, it's come out okay. This deck actually isn't in that bad a shape. It's thin and poked through here like it's been hit with gravel. So we have to patch that, but we got to do all the bearings and everything anyway. So let's check it all out. Let's get our belt off there. That's no good. That's a little growly. Yeah, I'll end up putting bearings on that side. This side's growly and tight. So, both sets of bearings. Let's get our chute off of here, because it's going to get painted anyway, so. Oh, battery's dying. Gonna need to change that battery out soon. It's only 2 bolts here. Broke. It's fine, it's just a standard 1/4 inch bolt. I have them in stock, so we'll just swap it out later. Chute can come off. Set that over there for now. Yep, that's pretty bad. Let's get her flipped over. Hold on to something, you guys are going to jiggle around a little bit. Whoa, those are not right at all. Yeah, they're very, very worn. That's your cutting edge. It's supposed to be actually flat out here, like straight. This is your lift. That's supposed to be curved way over like that, and there's nothing left of it. So this mower deck saw a lot of gravel, sand and gravel. It just demolishes the blades. I do have another pair here for it somewhere. Did order them. Anywho, I'm not seeing any rope or anything tied up in the bearings. We'll end up just taking everything apart and putting new in. Oh, nuts and bolts. No, that's on a blade adapter. That's a 1/2 inch. Now is going to be the time that the battery will die. We'll see how far we get. So we get the wrench on the nut. There we go. Well, that was relatively painless. Uh-oh. Battery time. I should just grab one out of the drill. Hopefully that one stays charged longer. Oh, it might be 9/16, yep. There we go. Yes, that ain't right. Get our hardware. Got some bolts and lock washers. Now to get the rest of the spindle out, we have to separate the halves here. This one's got a funky washer on it. I don't know if that was supposed to be on there. I think those washers are a little large. But What I wanted to see was that hole there. The camera's not going to pick it up, so I'm not going to get you guys swung over here, but I'm thinking I might... It's pretty rusty in here. I'd like to patch it from the inside so it doesn't look like a welded on patch on the outside. I don't think that inside is going to clean up nice enough to get a good weld. Welds don't stick to rust. Okay. I'm going to get this blade off, and I'll get one of the spindles out, and then I'll turn you guys back on, and I'll show you how I get the spindle out on the other side. Okay, a bit of a change of plan on this one. I've ordered spindles because these don't want to come apart nice. The blade adapter's already broken off on me, so I ordered a couple of adapters, a couple of spindles, but we got to get this pulley off because I don't want to replace that too. And it's got a long shaft in here, and it's splined onto the jack shaft, and it's on there good. I've been beating on it with a hammer. I can't get it to move. So the pulley had one hole in it. I added a second hole. We're going to use a puller set to see if we can get that to move. We're going to use it in combination with a torch. We're going to heat the tube down there, get it to expand a little bit, and see if we can get it to move. So I'll pull a little bit of pressure on the puller and keep a little more heat on the spline part of the shaft. Just going to throw a couple of bolts through here. Yeah, this one was tough. Doesn't want to move. Spindles are relatively inexpensive for these. It's an old school, old style MTD. Hey, let's get that forcing screw in there. I'm just going to use a little 3/8 impact. We're just going to run the puller down to get some tension on it. Whoa, easy now. Not straight. That's straighter. Now this pulley is very thin. I don't want to wreck it, so I'm just going to watch it from the side here as I'm pulling to see if it's distorting it. Not distorting it too terribly. It's also not moving. So, time for some heat. I'm going to heat it up right there. Hopefully it'll expand that pipe enough to let it slide off. But it's under tension now, so as we heat it, it should move a little bit. That was tight. Rusted. I might actually be able to straighten that pulley out. If I can, I will. If I won't, it'll get a new one. It's warm. She's warm. As far as ordering spindles, this gets damaged. When you use pullers and stuff or bead on it, that gets damaged. So this assembly, I'm going to replace this assembly and a new blade adapter. That's a mess. So it's splined here and it's just smooth down here. Let me see if I can get you a picture of this without getting burned. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up, but there's a bit of a warp in the pulley. I might be able to straighten it. If I can, I can. If I can't, whatever. So I'm going to let that cool before I do anything else. Yeah, we'll see how that works out on the other side. We know it now, it will come off. It's just more heat. Where are we now? I don't even know. Got the other spindle out, and I put it on the bench, and I'm changing it. I managed to actually get it all done. Took it all apart, cut the pulley off. That one came off okay. A little bit of heat. Got this adapter off. Clean up the splines. That actually moves nice and free now. Got anti-seize on it. This one's okay. I put new bearings in it, and it's good to go. So a bit of a struggle on it because everything's rusty and seized. But anyways, I get it all done, and I'm thinking, okay, great. That one's done. Now I just need to modify my order, so I only need to order one. So I reach up to turn the camera off, and I realized it wasn't on. It wasn't recording. So I lost all the footage of me doing that spindle. Anyways, and then I went ahead and I patched up the deck because I wasn't going to record the welding anyways. I don't want to hurt the camera. I'm not sure if it will or not. I've heard rumor that it can, so I didn't want to bugger up the lens, so I didn't do any of the welding on camera. But I took my plasma cutter and I burned out a little patch out of a piece of scrap that was laying around. We got to weld it in here. The material I used is twice as thick as the original deck. So I don't think that'll be a problem again. But yeah, that's in. That's patched. I'm waiting. Got to wait for the spindle for the one side now. I'll probably end up bolting the other one back in, and I'll paint the deck. I'm going to buff it all or buzz it all down with a sandpaper. I'll put the other spindle in, and I'll wait for the new one and put the new one in, and then I'll paint everything. That way everything matches all the same black. So that's that. I'm going to pull the wheels off so I can get in behind there with some paint. And yeah, so I'm probably at least 3 days out now to get the parts I need for this. I did find new blades for it up on the wall there, on my blade wall. So I do have a pair of those. I have a new belt over on the bench for it. So I guess what I'll do is I'll buzz this down and get it painted, and then I'll move on and get the hood buzzed down over there and get that painted red. The rest of the tractor's already painted. Yeah, so I'm not going to do that on camera. It's sanding, priming, and painting. So boring. So I guess I will pick this up again when we get the parts in from my supplier. Alright guys, so we've got our parts in. This is our old spindle and adapter with new bearings in it. I've replaced those. And this is our new spindle, new blade adapter with the old pulley installed. So that'll be fine. We're going to freshen up the hardware with some nylock nuts instead of lock washers. Whatever, don't matter. Bolts, nylocks, that's what's going in there. We've got the deck painted up nice and pretty. There's our patch that we welded in. Nice thick material. That'll be nice. Pair of new blades. And once that's together, we've got our new belt to go on it. It's here somewhere on the bench. It's a 69 inch. No, it's a 48. 48 inch. 48? Nope. Not that one. 5/8 by 69. That's the one that's going on there. That belt goes, well, this is the front of the tractor down here. The belt just goes from this pulley around here, up to the engine, and back to there. It's just a triangle on this one. No idlers and dips and weaves and corners and curves. So I'm going to set you up on a tripod on the bench here, and I'm just going to whittle away and pop this stuff back together, and we'll slide it under the tractor and hopefully get it hung and ready to go. And then this tractor is pretty well set. Okay, so we got that beast of a deck in there. This is not one of the easier ones to put in. There's 1, 2, 3, 1 pin for the dropping mechanism. As soon as you start to lower this deck, what happens is it shifts. As soon as you drop the arm, it shifts backwards, and that's what tensions the belt. And then it goes up and down from there. So when you go to the park or blades off position, it lifts to the highest cutting position, and then you go a little further, and it moves the deck forward, and it takes the tension off the belt. Anyway, so there's a pin back here and a pivoting arm with springs and gadgets. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 arms that hang down to give it its lift. And then there's 2, one on each side, that actually adjust the height, so or the level. Anyways, lots of clips in there. I replaced all those cotter pins with hairpins, and that works just fine. Isn't that pretty? Doesn't that look nice? Nice. Let's do a grand tour. We're all done with her. 12 horse Tecumseh, Tecumish, whatever you want to call it. Newest incarnation of this style of Tecumseh overhead valves. Tank's been cleaned and flushed out. Wiring harness has been installed off a newer, I don't know, Craftsman, maybe? They're all the same. The way that the Craftsman and the MTDs attaching the lights, I had to modify these lights to make that harness work because the old harness was rubbish. So I wired it in, got some loom on there, covered it up nice, zip tied it to the strut arm for the hood. Fresh coat of paint. Lights do work, just nice. Hold the tires, hold air. We'll do a little tour here. You won't see nothing down the back because it's dark back here, but that's all sanded down and painted black. We got our nice fancy doorknob upgrade. I actually like it. I like the chrome one. I don't have another one. I had an old one. My house is old. It's 112 years old or something. And all the doors upstairs actually have this style of latch in them. But all of mine are old and were old and crappy. I changed them all out for all new lock sets. But anyways, we're getting off topic here. I didn't have another chrome one. I thought I did, but I didn't. So it's going to stay whatever that is. Glass. Over to this side. Chute is still in reasonably good shape. A little crack in the end right here. Does not affect the function. Works just fine. There's that blade thing I was telling you about. Blades off is here. And I'm going to lift it out of its position. As soon as I drop this down a little, you're going to see it move. See that deck move? That's off. It's hard to tell when the camera's moving, but anyways, it goes straight up and down from here, but as soon as you go to the blades off position, it actually moves the deck forward, takes the tension off the pulley on the engine. Mastercraft. Not really sure on the year. I didn't date it, but I'm going to say 1988, 89, 90-ish. If you recognize that nice smiley face, it'd be an MTD machine. If you know what year that would be, pop me that info down in the comments down below the video there. Thanks for joining me on this one, guys. This has been a ride. I got another MTD to bring in right after this. A little bit newer. We're going to say 92-ish. 92, 93. It's a 12-horse, 36-inch deck, which is a little bit odd. If you haven't yet, a little red square that says subscribe on it. If you click that, it'll let you subscribe to my channel. And if you do go through that process, don't forget to give that little bell a dingle. It'll notify you when I upload new videos. Leave me a comment. Thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. Either way, I like the feedback. Anyways, thanks again for joining me on this one, guys. Until the next video, take care.